Hey guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we're going to talk a little bit more about our story and our journey we went on and went through. So, yeah. Where do you want to start?
Well, you were the real instigator of, us changing our lifestyle to go off-grid.
Yep.
So I think you should talk about, where that passion came from and, your reasoning behind it and what started it all.
Cool. Well, back in the day with the business, we sort of sold caravan accessories, batteries and solar panel stuff for caravans and motorhomes and things like that. Heap of other weird and wonderful things. That four-wheel drive off-grid adventure sort of lifestyle. And we sold that business and didn't know what I wanted to do at the time. So Sarah and I decided to, my mate and I, we convinced our wives to go to the Kimberley for our honeymoons together. So it was pretty good. And we jumped in the car and I spoke to my best mate and I said, look, am I really going to want a solar panel? I said, don't worry about your solar panels, leave it at home, you'll be fine. So we did. And so we hit the road and we got up to the Kimberley and basically had to get a solar panel where we stayed. The diesel generators were broken down and we weren't driving the car every day, so battery on flat was a nightmare. So I think it's the most expensive generator and solar panel I've ever had to pay for in my life. And if you're ever in trades and you get trade discounts, paying retail is it's not a good experience. And then paying retail in the middle of the bush, it's not fun. So when we got back from that trip, I went and did a permaculture course, and I really love permaculture. Sarah and I both grew up on farms and living sustainable and growing our own food and stuff like that. Something that we've just always been a part of us. And I wanted to do something, to educate people. And so I did a permaculture course, and I did an online permaculture course, and Sarah and I did that. We watched the Jeff Wharton video. Yeah. There's a link to his course down below if you want to check it out. And the online course, it really got me fired up and wanted to get involved and do it. And then I actually went and did the course. So after doing the online course, I went and did the course, and that was pretty exciting. And pretty much for us, after I did the course, I sort of wanted to make the house a demonstration site. We lived in the middle of Sydney, and I couldn't really see anybody doing it. So I decided to take the house off grid. And and pretty much for us, we grew our own food and we had our own water and things like that, and it was pretty much the only thing that we were missing was solar and batteries. So at that point in time for me, I didn't really want to put solar up just to feed back to the grid, make money and things like that, and that sort of industry was at that point in time. So I installed solar and we took our house off in Sydney off grid, which was pretty cool. Yeah. And that's sort of where for me where the business really started, is because the company that I bought the solar system from and the guy, it was a nightmare.
There were some challenges.
Yeah, really big challenges. It was back in the early days, and most of the guys that were off-grid were in the middle of the bush. That sort of stuff. So when I was learning, and I was up here, I was actually up in Lismore, working with a guy and learning how to do off-grid solar. We had a lady at the house. She was a female electrician, and she literally thought we wanted to be off-grid, hey? Yeah. She was doing some work in the house, and she disconnected the mains from the house, which and because she didn't understand batteries and things like how it all worked. Sarah was, we had a baby. He was about 3 weeks old. Yeah,
Lennox was newborn, and the power went out mid-bath at night. I don't know, it's probably like 6:30 at night, getting ready for bed. So that wasn't very fun. I'm on the phone to Mike. He's giving me instructions. Mike wasn't home, so I'm running downstairs into the garage. Thankfully, my mum was there helping and she could take Lennox.
Thanks, Nana.
Yes. But there was definitely some lessons learned with our system.
For me, I learned from that guy, and then I went to Western Australia to work with another guy and get some experience from him. And to me, it seemed like, if you've ever seen the movie The Castle, I love The Castle, it's a good old Australian movie.
It's a great movie.
I can't remember exactly, but it's literally, he has to go move the Chimera to move the Commodore to get the Tirana out. And it was really just like that. Like, everyone I went and experienced and worked with off-grid, and permaculture was something I was really passionate about, and everyone was a permaculture solar installer, and everyone was good working at my experience. It was just like that, like to literally, in our house in Sydney, to go back to the grid, you had to go flick a switch in. So it was literally all the time we had flat batteries, it would just literally run out, you'd have to go downstairs, flick the switch, or you'd turn something big on and you'd have a blackout and stuff like that.
We couldn't put on the kettle and the toaster at the same time. That would cause a blackout.
Yep, that's it. So
a few things like that.
Yeah, so, but look, once we really learnt to live with that system, Electric motorbike. We used to, I don't really like traffic. Around Sydney, I'd always catch public transport. I'd do buses or the motorbike. The house, we run air conditioner, we had a dishwasher. Once we really understood, we knew how the system operated, and that was probably about 18 months.
Yeah.
Before we got it sorted out and we understood it, and
yeah,
and I suppose the big thing for me, which really kicked me off to get in the business and doing that stuff, was I really could see, it annoyed me. I felt so bad as a husband to call my wife or her calling me, bathing our baby. She's got no power, and I felt disappointed and I felt bad. It was just a terrible experience. And it was funny when we so we did the house, we learned all about it, and then we moved to Lismore, and we were up here living in Lismore, and I was telling Sarah about our batteries, and what did you tell me? What did you say?
I was like, are we on batteries here? I didn't realise that we even had a battery system as part of this house. I knew that it was in the plans, of course it is, but I didn't realise that it was installed and we were living off batteries because everything was so smooth running, not a single hiccup. I just lived my life, cooked, and no thought, okay, I'm living off batteries. Okay, I need to be aware of what I'm using. I just went about my days as usual. So how long were we connected to batteries that I didn't even realise? Months?
Yeah, I reckon 6 to 12 months maybe.
Wow.
It was a long time.
Wow.
But to me that felt really good because that was one of the biggest things that frustrated, and it still frustrates me today. I work with installers, and I'm not an installer myself, so we get the guys to install, and it's constantly I suppose one of those things, they think it's okay you have to go move 15 cars to do something, and the reality for me is I just want life to be simple. I just want to be on it works and just live my life, so that's how for me that really when the business thought, right, this is how we're going to do systems and design, that people can just do what they want. And the reality, a lot of it comes down to, I know when we first did our system, we did it on a budget.
We did, yeah. And it was a learning project, and we knew it was. It was early days, and we were willing to. You certainly were willing to dive in and just work it out as we go. But now you can take all that knowledge and share it with everyone. Which is awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what I know, and I wouldn't, I suppose, deliver the service I try and deliver these days without that experience.
Yeah.
Experience is one of those things you just wish you had it just before you got it. And I've got a lot of experience. And if this is something that you really want to get into, I think the best experience for me, I learned so much by grabbing a solar panel and a car battery and going bush. You can learn so much.
Yeah.
How much energy fridges, for example, you keep them full. When you're off, you get a small panel and a small battery, they use so much less energy than when they're empty, trying to cool air and things like that. And they're all little things I learned because we're in the middle of the bush of nowhere, and that's all we had, So it is a really good experience to learn that sort of stuff. So it's a very different system these days, and also we spent a very different amount to make it happen these days.
That's true.
And also in technology, in 10 years, a lot has changed in the industry is the other thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going back a while.
Yep. Cool. So what other experiences have we had living off grid and tips? And cooking as an example with Sydney. Sydney we had in Sydney we had gas hot water. We had solar hot water with gas backup.
Yeah, it was gas backup.
And we also had gas cooking in Sydney
as an option. Yeah, if we.
Induction Cooktop's probably a big one that I know that. Sarah really loved gas.
I do.
Convince her, and this is one thing gas. That you can tell your story about the induction cooktop.
Absolutely, it was moving here, and we redid the kitchen, so it came up, and I was pretty stuck on staying with gas. But Mike purchased a little induction, like a little unit, like a single.
Links in the description below.
Yeah, a little single unit, and we tested that out and used it, and I was converted straight away. There's so many positives to using induction. You've got so much more control, and the safety of it as well. The kids can't just come along and turn it on and it becomes hot. That doesn't happen. It needs to have your pot or your pan connecting with it.
Yep.
So there's the safety side of it. Yeah, it's amazing. I wouldn't go back. No way. Absolutely converted. Yeah.
Yep. And one of the reviews you'll see in the induction cooktops that, and it's true, the cheaper the induction cooktops are, the more complicated they are to use. So buying a good quality one, we got a Miele one, and Miele actually wasn't that expensive. You can look around and get some good deals, but Miele, it's actually really simple. There is some things about you're like, sometimes the lock.
The lock is annoying. I can lock it really easily, but I can't unlock it easily.
Yeah, and if you sit something else on the other thing, it turns it off.
It's quite sensitive.
Annoying things about it, but the reality is, like once you understand, that was the biggest complaint when I did some research and you see on Choice, the Compare website, is the usability of them. The more expensive they are, the easier they are to use. They're less complicated, which makes it good. So, what other experience we had? So with the cooking, with this house now, we've got electric hot water. We've gone down that road.
Yeah.
And it's an old tank, and when we replace that, we'll be putting a heat pump in. What else?
Well, we also, as far as cooking's gone, you got your fireplace as well.
Yes.
That was a great backup solution, and where we could heat the house. What are they called?
A Nectar's baker oven.
Nectar baker's oven. So you can cook on top. It's got your heat plates and a little oven on this one as well.
Yep.
So in the cooler months, we were heating the house and cooking there as well.
Yep. And that's one of for me, the biggest thing I learnt from the permaculture principles. I know a lot of people, don't understand permaculture or don't like it because, very scruffy and people like nice and organised sort of places and properties and things like that. But the one thing for me in energy efficiency that I really remember from my course that sunk in was about energy efficiency and doing multiple things. So something to have multiple purposes, and that's what I loved about the fireplace. We did actually try and get a wetback in it. So the fireplace, was heating the house. We could cook on top of it. It had an oven in it. And if we actually could not find an installer in Sydney that would install the wetback. It's one of those things everyone was like, no one does this.
So what's a wetback?
Well, a wetback is basically, it's got a radiator in the back of it, and the water from your hot water runs through it. So if you've got solar hot water, for example, if you've got solar hot water with the tank on the top and your roof, they're ideal. The water will run through it, and actually you're taking heat from your fireplace and heating your hot water as well. So you heat your hot water, heat your house, and you cook your dinner on it.
Amazing. You can't get better than that.
Yep. And it makes your solar system then in winter, it's just lights, TVs and fridges. So it really reduces your off-grid batteries and stress and that sort of stuff because you get your fireplace doing everything. And the one thing I would say, like now in Lismore, we live in Lismore, we didn't go with the fireplace for this place here. It's because it's really hard. Well, it's actually not that hard. We really went firewood we could. But in towns, I'd probably look at more about putting more solar up and trying to do as much from electricity as possible. This house, we decided to heat the house with an air conditioner. We put a huge solar system up, and we're using an air conditioner to heat the house in winter.
We have the capabilities to do it with our solar system, so why wouldn't we?
Exactly. So that's how we thought about with that then. Air cons these days are really energy efficient. It's one of those things that, I see templates and things getting around of people designing off-grid solar systems, no electric cooking, no electric hot water, and no air conditioners. And these days, the best money you will spend on all of this stuff is energy efficient appliances.
Yeah, definitely.
You can really understand the energy efficient appliances. When we first did our system in Sydney, we were told we couldn't have an air conditioner. So I went and purchased a solar boosted aircon, and even getting that installed was the hardest thing in the world. No one wanted to touch it, and it was just different, So that was a big struggle. And that's another thing, I suppose, doing what we've done, we've really struggled to find people to install things and do stuff because it's different, it's unique.
New to them.
Don't touch it.
They're not experienced with it.
Yeah, so with the right knowledge, and look, really with money, you get the budget, you can do whatever you want. But with the right knowledge and experience, like I said, our lifestyle we live right now, we could live off that Delta almost, pretty much, a little bit bigger than that. Two of those, we could have run our whole life on it, just a few different things. We couldn't charge our electric car. But that size inverter, a little bit bigger, so a 3 kVA inverter, that's what we actually had in our house in Sydney, was a 3 kVA inverter. We could have done most things like that there just with some knowledge, and you can get through pretty much everything electricity. You can't cook two things at once, it's one or the other.
We've come a long way.
Yes, it's a very different experience these days.
We have lots of creature comforts here. Yeah.
Yep.
It's great.
All right, guys. So I really hope that's helped you out in your journey. Like I said, if you comment down below any questions or anything you've got from myself or Sarah, just put down below and we'll get back to you and we can go from there. And also, if you got something in this video, we'd really appreciate it if you like, and if you want to see more of this content, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks and have a great day.
Thanks.